Senior 2, now the time of revision. Question number 1, choice. Sound is an example of. Before choice, you have to know that sound is electromagnetic. No, sound is mechanical wave. So, it can transfer in the form of longitudinal wave. So, sound is mechanical longitudinal. The choice are electromagnetic, longitudinal, or transverse. Yes, the answer is longitudinal wave. Number 2, pendulum is pulled side and released to oscillate freely. It takes 5 seconds. In this shape, this is simple pendulum. It moves from point X to point Y, then it takes 5 seconds. The frequency of oscillation of the pendulum is, X to Y, it represents half of oscillation. It's not complete oscillation. So the time that taken to make one complete oscillation is double to that. It will be 10 seconds. Then the periodic time is 10 seconds. The question is about the frequency, and you know that frequency is reciprocal to periodic time. Then frequency equal 1/10 or 0.1 hertz. Number 3, this figure represents longitudinal wave move through water in a glass tank. The length of tank is 9 meters, so the frequency of the wave is 500 hertz. Before looking at the question, I have to give a look in this figure. This figure, there is a longitudinal wave. This wave move in the water tank length 9 meters. But from this figure, can you tell me that the number of this wave? Yes, 3. From this point to this point, this is one wave. The wave or wavelength can be calculated by the distance between 2 points in the same phase. I have here 3 distance, so it's 3 waves. Question number 1. This wave could be which of the following type of wave? Visible light, radio wave, microwave, sound wave, or X-ray? So the answer, great, is sound wave. Why? Because it's longitudinal, while the other choices is example of electromagnetic wave, which is always, yes, transverse. Number 2, the wavelength of the longitudinal wave is, I have told you that this shape consists of 3 waves. This is wavelength number 1, 2, and 3. The length of these 3 waves is 9 meters. So the wave of each one is 9/3. It will be 3 meters. Number 3, the speed of light in this wave moves nearly. You know that the speed from wave of propagation law, V equal lambda nu, or wavelength multiplying frequency. Frequency is 500 and wavelength I got it 3, so the result is 1500 meters per second. In vacuum, all electromagnetic waves have the same amplitude, frequency, wavelength, intensity, or speed. In vacuum, all electromagnetic waves move with the same velocity, which is similar to the velocity of light, as it's one of electromagnetic wave, which equals 3 times 10 power 8 meters per second. So, again, in vacuum, all electromagnetic waves have the same speed. A light ray falls on the interference between 2 medium. The angle of incidence, which is phi, equals 60 degrees. Refracted by angle 45. So this is phi and this is theta. Then the relative refractive index between them equal. You have to know that n equals sine phi over sine theta, which equals 1.22. Look at this diagram. The diagram shows the light passing from air into glass. This air and this is glass. وبعدين the glass has refractive index is 1.5. What is the angle of refraction in the glass? Okay, senior 2. To get n equal sine phi over sine theta. N is given 1.5. But the question now, where is the angle of incidence? Where is phi? Phi is 60 or 30. The definition of angle of incidence, it is the angle between the incident ray and normal line. This is the normal line and this is incident ray. And this line represents the separating surface. So the angle of incidence is 30. So I have angle phi, and then I'd like to get this angle, which is theta, by these steps. N equals sine phi over sine theta. N equals sine phi over sine 30. Phi equal 19. Sorry. And here is 1.5 and sine 30 is half. So it's equal 19 degrees. The choice is number A. If light fall on the glass block whose refractive index 1.5. This glass block refractive index بتاعته 1.5. The angle of incidence, this angle is certain. Find the angle between reflected ray and refracted ray. So from the given that N بتاعت الجلاس بلوك ده ب 1.5 وعطاني angle of incidence الصغيرة دي ب 30 degree. The question, what is the angle between the refracted ray and the reflected? This is reflected and this refracted. This angle, I'd like to get this angle. Okay? Follow the following rule, steps, sorry. The angle of reflection equal angle of incidence equal 30. So this angle الصغيرة دي اللي جنبها equal 30. Any glass, I'd like to get this back. ايه دي يا ميس؟ angle دي هي angle of refraction. لو جبتها هعمل subtraction من 90 يبقى انا جبت الجزء الباقي من الانجل دي وهعملهم بلس. طب ازاي؟ بص معايا n glass over n air equal sine phi over sine theta. So sine theta دي equal sine phi multiplying 1 اللي هو n volt n air over n glass equal sine 30 over 1.5. So theta equal 20 degree. Okay, so this part will be 70. Okay, the angle between reflected and refracted ray will be 180 كل ده minus 30 دي minus 20 دي. So the result is 130. Question number 2. The interference become more clearer as the distance between the two slats decrease in Young's experiment. Explain. Again the question. The interference become more clear if the distance between two slats اللي هي delta y in the Young experiment decreased, because the distance between two slats in or two bright rings or two successive rings delta y is inversely proportion to distance between the two slats. يبقى لو السلاتس زادت الديستنس هتقل delta y. As delta y decrease, the interference become clearer. Water flows through the rubber tube diameter 2.5. عندي tube الdiameter بتاعها 2.5 with velocity 6 meter per second. Find the diameter of the narrow open if the velocity of water is 34.56. ده على الجزء steady flow. أنا عندي التيوب ليها 2 opening، واحدة narrow واحدة wide. From the equation, continuity equation, A1 V1 equal A2 V2, or by R1 square V1 equal pi R2 square multiplying V2. By substituting 0.012 square. دي منين يا ميس دي؟ عشان أنا from the given diameter it's not radius. Okay? By substituting by radius اللي هو هيبقى 1.2 multiplying 10 power negative 2 عشان يتحول من سنتيمتر لمتر multiplying velocity 1 equal 6 equal R2 square times 34.56 نفس الconvert. Okay? So R2 square will be 25 times 10 power negative 6. So R2 equal 5 times 10 power negative 3 meter. Diameter equal to multiplying this radius it will be 10 power negative 2 meter or 10 centimeter. An artery of radius 0.35 centimeter is divided to 80 capillaries. عندي artery كبير هيحصل له branches لحد ما هيبقى 80 capillaries. Each one radius is 0.1 centimeter. Find the velocity of the blood in each capillary. If the velocity of the blood artery is 0.044 meter per second, yes, I can use the continuity equation as following. A1 V1 equal N A2 V2. And here is the number of capillaries, which is 80. A1 pi R1 square multiplying V1 equal N pi R2 square multiplying V2. Then, by substituting it, V2 will be 0.00674 meter per second. Another problem. A tube of cross-sectional area 4 centimeters square feeds a field with water. The water flows inside it with the velocity 10 meters per second. It ends by 100 holes or spore. Each area of each spore or hole 1 millimeter square. Calculate the velocity of the flow of water in each hole. يعني the velocity في كل spore. Also by using continuity equation, A1 V1 equal N A2 V2. It will be 4 multiplying 10 power negative 4 times 10 equal 100 times 1 times 10 power negative 6 V2. So V2 equal 40 meter per second. Tube cross-sectional area 10 square centimeter at a certain point A. And another tube 2 centimeter square at another point B. If the velocity of water at A is 12 meter per second, calculate the velocity of water at point B, and also calculate the volume mass of the mass of water which is flow in the tube in 1 minute, knowing that density of water is 1000 kilogram per cubic meter. Okay, the first part of the question number A. A1 V1 equal A2 V2. It will be 10 multiplying 10 power negative 4 10 centimeter اهي عشان اعمل لها convert. Multiplying velocity 1 is 12 equal 2 times 10 power negative 4 V2. Then V2 equal 60 meter per second. QV or volume flow rate equal A1 V1 A2 V2. So it will be 12 times 10 power negative 3 cubic meter per second. Volume equal QV over multiplying T, it will be 10 power negative 2. Mass equal rho V by knowing volume and given the density 1000 multiplying 72 times 10 power negative 2, the result will be 720 kilogram. If the angle of incidence on a rectangular prism, here is a triangular prism, is 45 degrees. Its apex angle LA equal 60. So from the given, phi 1 is 45, A equals 60. And refractive index is root 3. Calculate the emerging and the deviation. And from the given equals sine phi 1 over sine theta 1. N is given root 3, which is 1.73 equals sine 60 over sine theta 1. So from the rule of refractive index, I can get what? Yes, I can get theta 1, which is the angle of refraction. Okay. A equals theta 1 plus phi 2. Then 45 equals 30 plus phi 2. So phi 2 equal 15 degree. Also N equals sine theta 2 over sine phi 2. So theta 2 equal 26.35. Alpha equal phi 1 plus theta 2 minus A. Alpha equal phi 1, which is 60 plus theta 2 which is 26 minus ال A اللي هي 45 degree, then it will be 41.34.